Hey everyone, it's Keela here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's video. On the second Sunday of May, we celebrate Mother's Day, and I've been busy putting together some pamper packs onto the website. And the one that I am most excited about putting onto the website is the Sip and Save pack. And this is because I've never been able to offer anything like this before, and I know I'd be super excited to get this. Now, what the Sip and Save pack includes is a little pampering pack that you can use in the bathroom or on your feet. And we've got one option which includes some foot stuff, which is some foot soaking salts plus a scrub and the foot cream. And then there's another one that can be used in the bathroom, and that is for some soaking salts. If you don't have a bath, you can use them as foot soap as well, with some foaming sugar scrub and moisturizer. And this little set's available in 3 different scents, and then you can mix and match that with different colored metal tumblers. So I've got a purple, a teal, I also have a black, and I also have a white. And today we're going to go and finish off etching the rest of my tumblers. I have this little saying on them which says liquid therapy, and because everyone has their own different sort of liquid therapy, across the top I've got a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, glass of wine, or maybe something a little bit stronger if that's what you want in your little tumbler cup here. So today we're going to go and get the xTool F1 on, and I'm going to be showing you the best way to get your rotary tool set up to make it easy to use in the xTool F1 machine. Let's start by setting this up first. Alright, so I've got everything out of the box that I'm going to need to set up the rotary tool for doing these tumblers. Now, I have used the rotary tool on the M1 machine before, and I will leave links up in the top right hand corner so you can check that video out if you do have the M1. One of the biggest flaws, I would say, between the rotary tool with the M1 and the F1 is that the connection lead to connect your rotary tool to the machines are different between the machines, which was a bit of a shame. If you already have the rotary tool because you've got either the M1 or the F1 and you buy the second machine, you will need to go to xTool to get the correct connection cable to link your rotary tool to the machine. To go on to the F1, we have a USB fitting. This end is still the same, which goes into the rotary, but the part that goes into the machine, it's more of a USB format, whereas in the M1 it's a male-female plug. So it is a little bit of a design flaw, but I do have the cable, so we're going to be able to use this. Now, when you get the rotary tool, it generally comes so you've got the wheels on here. Now, because our tumbler is a sort of uneven shape, it's thinner up the top and thicker down the bottom, if we were to place these onto our wheels and do it, it actually can't turn the tumbler evenly, so we're not going to get a really nice etching on here. So whenever you have anything that is not perfectly straight down the sides, you're going to be better off putting the chuck onto your rotary, and it's super easy to change these over. It just takes a little bit of time, but it's super easy to do. And you need to use the screws that come with it. There's a large and a small one, and we're going to start by flipping this one over, and we're just going to grab the right screw. There's this little screw on the bottom here. We're going to take this one out. And what I like to do is, rather than putting my screws down, I keep hold of it. And when we take this piece off, I actually put my screw right back into the bottom so I don't lose it. And then this piece comes out. I'm going to put that with the box. We're also going to take this other piece off of here. So again, just unscrewing it. And once again, once I get it out the bottom and we take that off, I'm going to screw that back in so I don't lose it. It doesn't have to go all the way, just enough. On the top of here, we've got some little holes, and we just pop our little screwdriver in and we loosen the little nut that's in there. That just holds this one in place, and then that will slip off. So I'm going to go put that away. And now we're going to put our little chuck piece on, which is here. So we need our little drive bit here, which goes into the end. You'll feel it slip in, and then under here, I'll pull this back out to show you. On the sides of this, there's a couple of those little screw lugs. And what we want to do is, once this is in here, where it should be, we're going to take our screwdriver and we're just going to tighten those little screws down to hold it in place. We do one, turn it until we can see the other, and then we tighten that up. And then we want to put our little belt onto that piece there. We grab our chuck, and the belt also goes around that piece like so, and this is then going to sit on top of here. And we've got these two longer screws, and they are going to go through the holes on the top, and they're going to screw into these pieces down here. So again, just helps to use the right size screw. That's better. I'm going to get this one in. Alright, and that's how easy it is to change from the roller to the chuck. Alright, so now if we actually grab our machine, what I see a lot of people do is they grab their rotary and they put it on here and they counterbalance it down there to hold it in the right place. Or I've even seen people pick it up and they pop it under there like that and balance their machine. But there is a much better and safer way of doing this. And what we want to do is change the chuck from this end and put it onto this end. And it's super easy to do. What we're going to do is turn the machine around. We're going to grab our screwdriver, and there are two little screws on the end of here, and all we want to do is take them out. They're quite long screws, so you just have to be patient with it. Once it gets to a certain point, it's quicker to do it with your fingers. Take that one out. We'll take this second one out. Alright, once you've got those screws out, you're going to turn this piece around so the chuck is facing the opposite way, and those screws will just go straight back through these holes, and then you just screw them back on to this side. So I'm just going to start that one. We'll get this one, pop it through, line it up. Alright, so now we can open up our machine. This can sit on this side of the machine. It is nice and flat and sturdy on our bench here. And then we can simply put our cup into our claw grip, and it fits nicely under our machine. So we've got that in there. Let's tighten it back up, and our cup is under there. We know that this is nice and stable. Now I do know with this machine, because I've done a few of these now, because my cup is on a slight angle, just as we do with the M1, we need our cup to sit flat to get a really nice etch. And I know with mine, if I just use the little piece that came with the base plate and pop it under there, it gives it just enough of an angle that this now sits nice and flat, and we've got a nice surface for it to etch on. So let's start etching on our cups. Right, so that we can etch on our cups, we need to plug our machine in, and just as we do with the F1, we've got this end which clips on there, and then this USB end, it goes into the top plug on the side of our machine here. I'm just going to pop my little piece under, and on the back I'm going to turn the machine on. Alright, so now that our machine's on, you can see that we've got our red and our blue laser dot, and they're quite a distance away, so we need to focus that, and I need to bring my laser up to get this to focus. So to do that, I'm going to turn my knob on the side here clockwise until those two dots actually meet up in the middle. So I'm happy that those dots are now lined up. So let's go and jump into the creative workspace and we will get our pattern ready to go on here. Alright, so you can see that we are now in the xTool creative space, and I've already brought through my picture image here. Now I've used a combination of things to create this image. I used the Creative Fabrica to get that liquid therapy, and then all the little drinks across the top, they were various pictures that I found in Canva. I've imported them all into Adobe Illustrator and I came up with this little design. So what we're going to do is get it set up to go on our cup. Now the first thing I'm going to do is highlight them and group everything together so that I don't accidentally move something and not another thing, and which will completely ruin the design. Now I'm pretty sure this is the correct height. No, it's not quite the correct height. We're going to go 50.57, and I know that because that's what I've been doing all my other cups with. I'm going to click off of here, and first thing we're going to do is set the machine up to tell it what we're doing. We're going to be using the F1, so that's already connected there, and rather than using laser flat, we're going to be using laser cylindrical. And the setting I was using was this black metal business card, but we do need to do a little bit of fixing up on it a little bit later. Now we have changed it to cylindrical, you can see that we get this mode of roller or chuck, and we're going to be using the chuck. And next thing we need to do is input the parameter in here. And by parameter, or perimeter, they mean the circumference of what you are working with. Now, my cups are a little bit tapered, so thinner at the top, wider down the bottom, but it's not too much of a taper. So I pretty much go off sort of the middle sort of area around here. You could get really mathematical and measure it at the thinnest point that it's going to etch on, and also the widest point that it's going to etch on, and then find that sort of medium range. But I'm just going to measure around what I think is the middle. I'm using the tape measure that came with my rotary tool. I've just wrapped it around, placing it on the middle, and as I pull, making sure it's nice and level, as I pull this up where the black line is, it's telling me that it's 27.5 centimeters. Now because I have got my measurements set in millimeters, in my perimeter I need to put 275 millimeters, and it will work out the diameter of the cup. And this is really important so that the rotary tool knows how fast to turn the cup to get that image to engrave nicely. Now the other really important thing, which it's also told us on the screen with this big blue line across the top, is to make sure that that rotary tool is plugged in. If it's not plugged into the machine, it will still etch, but it won't rotate the cup around, and it will just do the whole design in one little sort of strip on your cup. So it's really important to make sure that you've got those things accurate. Now that we've got them in place, what I'm going to do is just highlight my image here, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And that is because what you need to imagine is that this green line across the top of the screen, that is the back of the F1 machine where the little fan is. So if you think about it, our cup is actually sitting this way, so that the back of the machine is here, which means we want our writing to go down the cup this way. Hence why I've turned my image onto its side. I'm then going to move this up towards the top where this green line is. That's basically where the etching is going to start. So if you're doing a full wrap around a cup, that is something that you really need to pay attention to. Or if you are trying to avoid, say you've got a logo on the back of the cup and you want to get your image on the center front here, you know that your image, to get it directly center, you're going to have to just offset it a little bit, work out how wide it is, and work out where to start your image. So just keep that in mind with the green line. Because mine don't have logos or anything, it doesn't really matter where it starts, but I still like to do good practices and start off around the top there. So I'm going to pop that up just in the top. We'll frame it in a little bit. Now, what I do know with my design, I am going to ungroup this because I don't plan on moving it much now. But what I do know with my design is that this top part with all of the drinks, this tends to score better than engrave. If I actually turn this to engrave, you can see where it's gone absolutely solid. And I don't want this cocktail glass to be solid. I could actually do each of these individually and just tell it to score, but instead I'm going to have the whole lot score. I find when you have these nice fine lines, you do get a better scoring image. But what I do want is this bottom bit with the liquid therapy. I want that one to be engraved, so it takes away all this metal paint and leaves the nice metal shininess underneath. So we've changed that to engrave. And for both of these, it's come up with the blue light. If we highlight the whole lot, it comes up with, no it doesn't. If we highlight our cups, you can see even on score, it comes up with the blue light laser at 100 power, 120 speed with 1 pass over it, which I find is more than enough. And if we highlight down the bottom here, again, it comes up with the blue light, 100 power, 100% power at 400 speed with 1 pass. And I like to do mine with 160 lines per centimeter. That just means that the etching is a lot closer than if you had it 100 lines per centimeter. The higher you go, the closer that etching is together, but the longer it also takes because it's got to pass over that spot so many more times. But I'm pretty happy with all of those settings that we've got in there. So what we're going to do is start framing it on the machine. Another really important thing is when we're actually putting this under the machine is that you want to make sure that this is straight. You don't want it on a slant like that because you're just not going to get a nice etch. So what I like to do is when I put my rotary tool against here, I actually butt this part of the machine up against the very edge of here, and that gives us a nice parallel line, so we know that that is nice and evenly placed. So what we're now going to do is do our framing and see where it comes up on the cup. So to do the framing, we're going to click on our little framing button down in the corner here, and on our cup you can see where that line is going around, and I'm pretty happy with that placement. Now I have actually got my xTool machine set up so it is now wireless. So I've got the desktop air purifier switched on, ready to go. We've got this all ready, so now it is time to go and click on process. Then we'll click on start. It's going to beep, and what I'm going to do is just pull this down enough so it's not going to hinder the movement of our rotary tool, and then I'm going to push the side button. So in about 6.5 minutes, that has etched this cup. Now, if you are really, really careful, what we should be able to do is don't move this rotary tool, but very gently just loosen it, take the cup off. We can take our next cup here. Again, just carefully place it on the inside, as long as you are not moving anything around. So we've got that tightened in. It's going to pull that back down. I'm going to double press on the side, and that is just going to start working for us again. Alright, so our second one is done, and again, if we just very, very gently undo that one, we can grab another cup and we can just pop it straight back in and under, double click the button on the side, and we can set it going again. But first of all, what I want to show you is how I'm actually going to clean up these cups. So to clean these up to get a really nice shine, I do have a bucket with some water in. I have got some degreaser here, but you can use isopropyl alcohol to do this as well. And I have a little magic eraser sponge. I'm just going to get my sponge a little bit damper here. And all I'm going to do is spray a bit of that degreaser across the top there. Give it a bit of a scrub like so. And then I'm just going to dip it into my water to get that degreaser off. I will give them a proper scrub later to make sure there is no residual degreaser on there. And that is our cup all cleaned up, and this is one that I haven't yet cleaned up. So you can really see the etching of these cups just becomes so much brighter and clearer. And you can see the silver a lot more. This has got more of a sort of grayish tinge. So I'm going to get this one cleaned up. I'm going to get the black cup also etched as well. Alright, so our black cup is now done, and watch the transformation when we actually clean this one up. So again, just going to give it a little bit of a spray. You don't need a lot. And look at the shine. The black cup is one of my favorite that etches, because that shine that comes through is just absolutely astounding. I'm going to get this next black cup done, and then I am going to show you how I etch on the white cups. So I'm just going to get that in. I'm just going to wipe that bit of degreaser off there so it doesn't interfere with the etching. Got that on nice and tight, pull it down, double push, and off it goes. So when it comes time to actually doing the etching on things, and it can be wood, it can be tumblers, it can be anything, any little minor changes can really affect the end result. And one of those little changes that can happen when you are doing etching on your metal tumblers is the color of the paintwork. You can see on this black one here that metal work underneath is absolutely beautiful, vibrant, shiny, really, really nice sort of etch on it. These are slightly different tumblers, which doesn't actually help things, but you can actually see, like on this purple, even though it has actually etched, the silver doesn't really jump out as much, but it does jump out a little bit more on that teal. Now when it comes to doing white, I actually discovered, if I can find it, we had a little bit too much liquid therapy with this particular one. When I first etched using the current settings that I'm using for these tumblers, where you actually can't see, where it's really dull grey, that was the blue laser light, and it just wasn't going to etch through that paintwork. I even did 2 and 3 passes and I just could not get it to clear. But what I could do to get that paint to come off was to actually swap to the infrared laser to do the etching part of it. But I did actually find during the scoring I could still leave it on that blue light laser. So we're going to go and fix up the design so I can actually etch the last of my 2 white cups here. So I'm not going to change anything else in here. I'm not going to change the perimeter where the design is or anything like that. But what I am going to do, I'm going to leave, as I said, the cups or the glassware using that blue light 100% power and the speed at the 120 on the score, because I found that worked. But what I'm going to do is highlight this liquid therapy, and I'm going to change it to infrared and leave those exact same settings that are on here. I have a feeling I did bump my rotary setting when I was moving the cups. So I am going to double check my framing to make sure that this is actually in the right place still. Yep, that's still looking pretty good on there. So once it's finished doing its framing, I am going to click on process. Going to lower our screen to protect our eyes, but making sure I'm not knocking the rotary. I will then click on start. Once it's beeped, I'm going to push the button on the side and let it do its thing. Okay, so the white cups are now done. Let's take that off. And you can see it doesn't actually appear to have etched as well as what the other cups have. So we're going to give these a really good scrub. Alright, so to clean our white cups, we do need to use a little bit more elbow grease. I'm still going to use my degreaser, give it a bit of a spray. Now, if I just used my magic eraser here, you can see that the foam is sort of going that grey murky colour, so it is pulling away some of that residual paintwork, but it doesn't pull it all the way. So you can see around in that Y we've still got some paint stuck to the cup, and you can give it a really good scrub with your magic eraser and get as much of it off as you possibly can. In fact, this one's coming up pretty good with just the magic eraser. I've had a couple of really stubborn ones, so I'll just give that a bit of a rinse. So we've got a couple of little stubborn patches on here. You can see around the bottom of the Y, around here, we've still got a bit of paint on there. And there's a little bit on the bottom of this E and that A. So what I do to get rid of those, I get myself a soft scrubby sort of cloth. This one here is perfect for doing this, and I'm just going to go over it and pull off the rest of that paint that is still stuck on there. Now, I have tried all sorts of settings on my white tumbler to do this in one sort of go on the machine, and I just cannot find that perfect setting. Some say if you do it with the blue laser and then go over it with the infrared laser, that cleans it up. And just with this particular cup and this white, I have found that doesn't actually work, and I'm using it at its most powerful setting. So I'm at its absolute limit with doing this one, but with a little bit of patience we can get the rest of this paint off of here. Just got to get in to all those little nooks and crannies and pull it off. I wouldn't be using anything like a steel or a steel wool scrubber, because that's going to actually scratch your cups. This is like a kitchen cloth. It's got a bit of a almost Velcro hook sort of feel to it. So it's still actually quite soft, but it's got enough sort of roughness that it's getting in and under that paint that the infrared laser has lifted. And they've got just a couple of little spots where I know if I just get my nail in there, it just pulls off that last little bit of paint. But I have tried all sorts of settings on these white ones, and this is the one that works the best for them. And I'm pretty happy with how that has come up. So that is our white liquid therapy cup. Alright, so I have finished etching the remaining cups that I have for the Sip and Relax Pamper Packs. I can take these into the shop as well. I do have a whole heap more down there already. As I said, I do actually need to wash these ones out to get that residual degreaser off here and make sure that they are all nice and clean, and then pop the lids on and into the packs with whichever pampering pack people order to go with them. If you are interested in the xTool F1 and any of the sort of extra brushes I've been using. I have left links down in the description box. They are affiliate links where you don't pay any extra money, but it does keep a record of how many people are watching the video and then following through to the website. I do hope you've enjoyed coming along with me as I finished etching off the cups. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one, and I'll see you then. Bye.